general life and love reading. Thank you so much for all of your likes and your shares and your subscribes. All right, Pisces, let's get started. I'm using the Mary L. Tarot deck. All right, Spirit and Universe, what are the messages that you have for Pisces regarding life and love? What are the messages, advice, and guidance that you have for Pisces in life and love? What does Pisces need to hear? What do they need to absorb? What are the key messages for Pisces? It's interesting that this one wanted to almost be on top of the middle row, but instead it's going to be the bottom. I'm curious what that's going to mean for you. The bottom of the deck is the Five of Pentacles, which means feeling left out in the cold. It can mean money issues, feeling like there's not enough. But what's so interesting about this card, and I'm going to show it to you here from this traditional deck. It's usually the man and the woman sitting outside of the church, right, where there's warmth and security and safety, but they're kind of keeping themselves out here by wanting to stay with the other person, but the other person's not really doing what's best for them, so they're hurting each other when they both could just do what's best for each other and themselves and go in and be with the warmth of loved ones, comfort, warmth, right? But they're choosing to stay out here. It's a very interesting meaning to this card, because people are always like, oh, you're feeling left out in the cold. Yeah, but you're choosing to stay out there, right? I'm not saying you, but whoever we're talking about. So the interesting thing is, okay, we can really look inside and look at what we want. Okay, he's kind of in this dream world, looking into his soul, looking at the world that he's envisioning, and he can go to this place if he chooses to. But it's a choice. We always have a choice. So let me get a high-level perspective of what's happening here for you, Pisces. And I'm also going to note that underneath is Judgment. First of all, underneath is oh my gosh, Knight of Wands. There's fire everywhere in this reading for you, Pisces. Fire, 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 fire. So I don't know if you're dealing with a fire sign, but you should be. Or they're like on your mind or something. Okay? We have this in and out energy of the Knight of Wands. Very, very, very energetic. Oh my gosh, even the Two of Wands. Okay, decision. Okay, regret. Five of Cups. This lightning bolt is very indicative of the type of energy that this card represents, right? Temporary, but very electric. King of Wands. Okay, Leo, Aries, Sagittarius. Very content and solid in his knowing himself. All right, he knows who he is. He knows his soul. So this fiery energy that's so prevalent in this reading, this fiery energy that is representing decisions and regret, electricity, they know who they are. Okay. There's a decision with the Two of Swords here. There's a decision that you have to make, and it's this incessant buzzing in your head, Pisces. That's why this card is represented by none other than the locust, right? It's incessant. It's not leaving. It's very prevalent. Judgment. Again, we see fiery type of energy. We see kind of this squawking that this dragon is doing. So this outcome is going to be very loud in terms of what you know will be the outcome, what you know you want, okay? It will be very clear to you the direction that needs to go in, that you need to go in. And then we have the Hierophant here, which represents, in terms of society, it represents solid, outward looking, I'm not saying any of the right words right now, kind of conforming to what society wants, but also understanding that in order for something to grow and develop and transform into something that is together, like togetherness, you know, I'm talking about in terms of a marriage, right? That you have to understand that people are different. Okay? They grow at different rates. They absorb at different rates. But despite what is in there around, okay, right, they're feeding, they're breastfeeding, but they're two different sizes, maybe different ages. Okay, but they're growing at different rates, even though they might be given the same thing. Just people are different. But they are remaining connected at the same time. You see how they're holding hands? They're kind of relying on each other. Like they're going through this together, despite being different, but also relying on each other. Not only relying on each other, but also being there for each other. So there is a sense of feeling left out in the cold. But remember, Pisces, this is a decision. And if something is in your mind incessantly, okay, do something about it. There's a pathway for you to take between past and the future. There's a direct pathway about where you are right now. You can choose where you want to be right now. Okay. Now we have this odd card here based on everything I said previously, this very odd card of the Three of Wands, because this is an interesting card in that it means that your ships are coming in. But I like this depiction on this card because this card represents not having to do anything. You've kind of done everything you can do, everything you should do. So there's an awareness here that things will work out. But we also have to see what's right in front of us, and we have to see what can hurt us. So this card can also be about not only waiting for your ships to come in, but also being very aware of our surroundings. Just like the Two of Wands is past, present, future, this is the same. This is where we are right now, what we did to get here. Okay, this snake is pretty relevant here because it can hurt, right? People can hurt us. So just have that awareness. Okay. But every other card here we have represents awareness, internal awareness, and willingness to take action. And I use the word willingness on purpose, because wands are willing. They love action. Wands see action as how to get places. So they're always very positive. That's why I use the word willingness. So the key kind of high level advice for this month for you, Pisces, the rest of this month is, be very aware of what you're feeling and what you're thinking. Kind of like be honest with yourself, and then be willing to do something about it. That's it. Okay? And I know that sounds very cliche, and that can be the case for any situation. And yeah, that's true. That's very true. It can be. But that's also what these cards are saying very clearly. All right? Opportunity for growth. Fertile with ideas, fertile with energy. There's a baby here. Okay? She's harvesting fruit. She's looking at everything she has done, what she can do, should she, and then kind of forcing herself through with the Five of Wands, forcing herself through the confusion and the darkness with fiery optimism. Okay, we all get in these places sometimes. This is an internal battle, and forcing ourselves through it with grace, with pride, with action, and with energy. And there's 2 lions here, okay? The Five of Wands and the Strength card. So having that self-esteem and having the confidence to forge ahead, use this energy to go after what you're wanting. But not ever underestimating your Pisces, okay? You're very in tune with your intuition, and you're very in tune with your emotions. You don't share them very often. Okay? You feel much deeper than people give you credit for. And sometimes you don't show it because you kind of counteract that because if you're a Pisces, like, you're a Pisces. If you're a Scorpio, you're a Scorpio. And you kind of know the general characteristics that go along with that trait. And one of those for Pisces is sensitivity. And so you kind of overcompensate for that by being insensitive. And because it's a feminine energy, you can kind of overcompensate, especially if you're a man, you can kind of overcompensate for that feminine energy by being overly masculine and not really allowing the feelings to surface. And that can be problematic in relationships. So what does all that mean? Okay, why did I even go down that road? Why did I even say any of that? Because the Hermit card is here. And unlike all the other Hermit cards and all the other decks where it's the old man, the wise man with his lantern sitting in a dark cave overlooking a snowy mountain, high up on the mountainside. It's very earth oriented because it's the card of Virgo. This card in this deck, and that card represents what? Okay, it represents solitude and introspection. But being grounded, like grounding ourselves to what we really want and what we really feel about something and what we're really going to do about it. Kind of taking a time out to figure stuff out. Get grounded again. But in this deck, the Hermit is water. He's surrounded by emotions. Sorry, I'm just looking at this deck because I think it's beautiful for this card. So he still has his lantern. The Hermit always has his lantern, right? He's always looking for the step ahead. But here he's very much being enveloped by emotions. So Pisces, there's nothing wrong with being enveloped with emotions. And what this is talking about with this internal battle, this wanting to start something fresh, start something new, having the energy to do it, but also feeling kind of stuck, like you can't move ahead because you kind of know it's going to work out anyway, oddly enough. the Hermit sitting here next to the Queen of Wands is a very clear indication, and the Ace of Cups, new love. Okay? A new beginning. Overflowing with emotion. This is very clearly talking about that you need to be very aware and very honest with yourself. Really take time to become very honest with yourself. And then take action. Because that brings about love. It brings about leadership. It brings about self-esteem and confidence. Okay? And it brings about energy to continue fighting for what you're trying to fight for. It's kind of this launch pad, this introspection, this honesty about what you really want and what you really are trying to do, and go where you're trying to go, who you're trying to go to. This is a launch pad for that, for making that happen. Like there is fight left. The confidence is there. But it takes focus and it takes a lot. It's going to take action. That's why, I mean, Queen of Wands, Aries, Emperor, Aries. 5 of Wands. We have Leo. We have so much fire here. So much fire. 3 of Wands, more wands, right? So it's going to take a lot of action, but you've got to be honest with yourself. That's it. Like, you've got to just be honest with yourself. Okay. Please clarify the 3 of Wands for Pisces. Please clarify the 3 of Wands. Well, it's funny how this card means kind of wait, like I said, waiting, and you don't have to do anything, but also being very keenly aware of why you are where you are. Okay. And then the Hangman is a card of waiting. It's your card. It's the card of Pisces. Waiting and looking for signs and looking for symbols. It's funny how we have this bright, this colorful difference between the blues and the reds, the fire and the water. They contrast each other so beautifully. Even in the Ace of Cups, we have the fire and the water. Okay, so the 3 of Wands, okay, look for signs and symbols. That's what this Hermit card is about. It really is about really taking a time out and really being honest with yourself. Please clarify the Empress for Pisces. Please clarify the Empress. Clarity. The Ace of Swords. Clarity. Okay? You have this internal battle going on, or you will. Get clear on what it is you're trying to do, where you're trying to go, who you want to be with, who you want to be. This is heavy. This is a really heavy reading, Pisces. And partially it's because Mars is in Scorpio. Mars is actually the ruler of Scorpio, just like it's the ruler of Aries, and Mars is the god of war. But again, action. So, with Mars in Scorpio, we have this deep conviction, right, to our emotions. We've got that stinger of the Scorpion, and we've got the fight of Mars. So, it's a transformative month for many people. For many signs. And I think you're feeling that on a deeper level than most. All the water signs will be. Okay. Please clarify the Hermit for Pisces. That's why this Queen of Wands and the Emperor becomes so important. Because if you're not about love right now, like I know you're watching this for a love reading, but if you're kind of focused on stuff other than love, like it's a month of action. It's a month of executing what you want, but being very clear about it first. Okay? Holding on to your convictions, holding on to your tenets. Okay, please clarify the Hermit for Pisces. Seven of Cups. Choices, options. But the wolf doesn't get taken advantage of. Okay. So, yes, options, but wise options. That's why you are needing to really get clear with your own self. Please clarify this Ace of Cups. Who is this new love with? What is this about? Please clarify the Ace of Cups. What is this new love about? For Pisces, please clarify the Ace of Cups. Six of Wands, victory. Whatever it is, Pisces, you're going to feel like you've won. This is a card of victory. Okay? It can also be a sexual card, but it doesn't have to be. It's more so a card of victory, feeling victorious, feeling like you've won. So emotional fulfillment all around. But again, more wands. Action, action, action. Please clarify the Emperor. The Moon. Your card. This is you. Pisces. We have the Moon. Okay. This is the card of relying on... This is the card of kind of relying on the spiritual world, right? Because the Native Americans believed really heavily in the spirit world. They believed in external, right, evil, dark spirits. They believed in their ancestral, warm, relative ancestral spirits protecting them. They also believed in their the spirit animals, even ones that were with us here today, leading and guiding and allowing them to see through the darkness. So it's a very important card for you, Pisces, because this is your card. And when we're talking about, you need to really see your true feelings. Get honest with yourself. Okay, this is a card of the unspoken. The Hangman. Looking for symbols, looking for signs, listening for signs. Okay, the answers are there. You just have to see them. And then you have to take action. You have to get very clear on what the outcome is. I know I keep repeating myself there, but it's just such a clear message. All right, what are the high-level advice and guidance messages? And yeah, you very well could be dealing with a fire sign. Very, very, very likely could be dealing with a fire sign. And, you know, if you're dealing with the Aries, like, this is your card. You're looking towards the past, maybe trying to figure something out. I don't know. Then the Emperor, like, they're looking forward. But both still looking, nonetheless. Okay, high-level advice and guidance messages for Pisces. High-level advice and guidance messages for Pisces. Four of Pentacles, the Fool, Nine of Cups. in terms of advice and guidance, Pisces, look, you're keeping yourself in a state. You're keeping yourself in a state. Okay? You're being paralyzed by thoughts. And I feel like there's a little bit of speculation going on while you're trying to figure something out or solve something. And in doing that, you're actually causing yourself to become barricaded and separated from everything else on some level. And if you look here, you know, your average Joe walking down this pathway up in the Himalayas is not going to see where you are. You're up here. Okay, you're protecting yourself a little too much. Kind of keeping yourself separated a little bit too much. And there's nothing wrong with this, especially if you're actually really trying to sort out your own thoughts. So if you're taking time, Pisces, which it looks like you are, trying to fight through these internal battles, fine. But what it's going to result in is letting this go, letting this barrier and this barricade go, so you can allow new beginnings. And then we have the wish fulfillment card, the 9 of Cups. Okay, wishes being granted, emotional fulfillment. And again, okay, we have the night sky. We have the water. We have the Scorpion. We also have the pillars that we have in the High Priestess card that protect, right, or on the exterior of Solomon's temple. The black and the white. So there's protection here, but there's also indulgence. There's a staircase leading towards this moon, okay, which is like the eye of the storm. Well, you can't see, which is like the eye of the storm. So there's all this emotion, all this indulgence, but it's trying to get to it's kind of cathartic because there's one goal here. Like, this catharsis is based on one thing. And this card represents the fact that you will be getting to it. You will be getting there. And it's actually pretty funny. I've never seen this Scorpion before. Emotional fulfillment, overindulgence. But again, right? There's a whole internal world that he's protecting. Inside, and on the other side of these pillars, there's an entire universe. And that represents you too, Pisces, because that's kind of how you are. You're so deep. You don't really show it. You don't really show it. But there's a lot going on there underneath the surface that you're kind of keeping hidden, and that's okay. But it's almost as if you will be able to explore that a little bit. Okay? And then the new beginning with the Fool. So you're really on this precipice right now of a new beginning that will make you happy, that will bring you confidence. And but it's going to kind of force you to expose yourself to yourself. And through that, okay, maneuvering to a place where you want. After you realize that that is what you want. Okay? All right, I've gone on and on and on and on. All right, Pisces, thank you so much. I love you. All right, bye, Pisces.